Hey, y'all, welcome back to the podcast, solo episode today. And we are talking about something that I literally brand myself on, which is confidence. And if you guys follow me over on social media at Christina, or you watch the YouTube channel, which today you will catch this episode over on our Decide It's Your Turn YouTube account. You guys know I am huge on cutting the bullshit and being kind of a tough ass sometimes. Obviously, my clients who have been working with me for a really long time, they know that I can be so soft and so vulnerable with them, and I can hold them when it's really hard. But I'm also your girl who's going to call you out on the excuses. I am going to hold you accountable because I truly do this podcast because I want you to live up to your potential. I want you to do that thing that is inside of your soul, and I want you to enjoy it. I think that is one of the main reasons why my clients hire me, is because they know I'm the girl who's going to call them out on their bullshit, but they also know that I want them to enjoy the experience so much. Just today, I know you're probably going to be listening to this podcast months after I posted on social media, but if you go to my social media, my Christina Instagram page, you can see a post. If you scroll down in the main feed, you can see a post where I just said it was like a reminder post, because I know so many people post these massive client wins that we're talking about money and these huge things. But some of my absolute favorite client wins are these small, tiny little things that are just so life-changing for them. And they're the littlest things. And today, I want to talk about building confidence and cutting the excuses, not only to achieve these massive, big things that you guys want to achieve in your lives, like the thing that's in your soul, but I want you to enjoy the process. And I want you to understand that these tiny, small, little goals come from building confidence, come from doing the thing that you say that you're going to do, come from cutting the bullshit, cutting the excuses, and just doing the damn thing. Have you ever felt, I don't know who said this, or maybe I heard it on a podcast, or maybe even one of my clients said it. I actually think it was one of my clients. So if you are my client who is listening to this, I don't know how many. Currently, I have 30 something clients, and I don't know how many of my clients actually listen to the podcast, or former clients. I always appreciate you guys letting me know if this podcast resonates with you. So you can send me a text 501-222-3362, or send me a message over on Instagram on the Decide It's Your Turn Instagram, or the Be Christina Instagram. Whatever, however you want to contact me, just find me. I'm sure if you are looking, you can figure it out. But let me know if this was you who said it, because I do believe it was one of my clients that said, sometimes the thing that is way harder is thinking about doing the damn thing is so much harder than actually doing the damn thing. I'm going to repeat that just to make sure I said it correctly. It is thinking about doing the thing is sometimes more difficult than actually doing the damn thing. And that is a huge reason why today I'm going to talk all about cutting the friggin' excuses and actually doing the damn thing and building the confidence to actually achieve the goals that you want, whether they're huge goals or they're these tiny little goals that I was talking about on my social media that I posted today. I know today is not the day that you're listening to this podcast, but I posted about these little tiny client wins where they were one of my clients literally allowed herself to go for a walk. She's such a high achiever. She's had so much success in her business. And she has this overwhelming thought that she always has to be working because that's what you do. And what are people going to think and all the things. And I'm going to talk about that today, because that is one of the reasons why people do not have the self-confidence, the deep rooted self-confidence, is because they care so much about what everyone else thinks. And they also have, most of us have this deep programming about what is okay and what is not okay, what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing. And, something that I have said for years, whether it be on this podcast or to my clients or whatever, is you are no longer your parents' stories. You, as a grown ass human, get to decide what is no longer serving you, and you get to change that. And I think that's one of the most powerful things that I say, is because most people are not achieving the things that they want to achieve, whether they be big or small, because of a program or a habit or a pattern that you have done because you were taught that. You know, I did a post a long, long time ago. I said, the things that you think are not true. And a lot of that, if you don't understand what that means, is like, just because you think it does not mean that it is true. So you can think, well, my parents did it this way, I have to do it this way. That is not true. And if you do not want to have that be true any longer, you have the power to change that. Just like the name of this podcast, you have the power to decide. You have the power to decide it's your turn. And ultimately, you have the power to change the way that you think. You have the power to change the habits to create a life and business in which is aligned to you. And a lot of that comes down to the confidence in yourself, cutting the excuses and doing the damn thing. And that is what I'm going to be talking about today. I am going to be talking about how to build confidence. I know I've talked about this a ton on the podcast, but I'm going to give some good examples today that I hope you enjoy. I literally have notes. So if you look at me over on YouTube, you can see I have 4 pages of notes. It's chicken scratch. Let's hope that we can read it, because I've been honestly thinking about this podcast, because towards the end of the year, you guys are listening to this, I think in December, it's time to cut the excuses. You know, nothing changes unless something changes. And in 2024, and fuck 2024, you can think about it even today, like whatever today's date is. I think this will be coming out in December. It's like currently the beginning of November, but cut the damn excuses and do the thing today. And you know how you build confidence? You fucking start today. You start right now. And let me tell you, I have said it on this podcast 100 times. I'll probably say it 100,000 more in the years that I'm going to be keeping doing to this podcast. Oh, by the way, shocker, nothing's changing next year. Be sure to listen to the podcast in a couple of weeks, because I'm going to be talking about 2024. It'll be our first episode of 2024. It's going to be the same theme that I talk about every year, but you're going to want to hear it because I was fired up. Anyway, all of that to be said, today, if you want 2024 to be different, if you want to do things differently next year, building your confidence and cutting the excuses. And that is the shit that we are going to be talking about today. So like I've said 100 times on this podcast, gosh, I've said that like 100 times already today. Building confidence. Confidence is like a muscle. The more that you use it, the stronger it becomes. And guess what? In order to build your confidence, you are going to have to do things that push yourself. You're going to have to do things that you don't necessarily want to do right now in order to get what you want. Just like I said a few minutes ago, nothing changes unless something changes. Like, you have to change something to get a different result. Like the whole, what is that whole like funny analogy or whatever, when it comes to like getting the same thing? God, I can't even think about it right now. My head is spinning. I've already done like 16 client calls today. Well, it's actually only 3, but it feels like 16. Feels like 16. I am an exaggerator. My husband will tell you I never lie, but I do exaggerate. So I had to catch myself there. Not 16 client calls in a day. I've only done 3 today. I've got 2 more this afternoon. But literally, in order to get something different, you're going to have to do something different, right? What is the definition of insanity? That's where I was going. The definition of insanity is doing the exact same thing and thinking you're going to get a different result. It's not true. So you're going to have to do something different. So let's talk about building self-confidence first. Let's talk about this, because I do believe that confidence is like one of the sexiest things alive. I think confidence is one of the most helpful things. Like a confident person, like a truly confident person, that person is usually pretty attractive. That person is pretty much like a person you're like, damn, I see that person. Like, I like that characteristic. I like that trait. I think confidence is one of the greatest things. I mean, my husband is pretty damn confident. And what do I mean by confident? Like, he believes in himself to his core. I think I do the same thing. Like, I am a pretty confident human being. Am I confident in everything? Am I confident in math? Fuck no. But the thing about that is I literally will admit when I'm wrong. I think that that is a trait of a very, I know that is a trait of a very confident human being, is when you are able to say, I don't know, or let me find out. And I am the first person to tell you that I use a calculator for everything. I am not a confident person when it comes to math. Am I confident in my ability to figure everything out? Am I confident in my ability to figure out how to do math if I absolutely have to? Absolutely. Because I truly do believe from the bottom of my core that if I want something deeply enough, I will be able to do it. There's no question. I did not curate the life that I have today without being very confident in myself. And that is a true, deep-rooted confidence. Have I always had that? No. I do believe, that's a question I get asked all the time. Is confidence like just a trait that you have? Are you born confident? I am sure people are born with different levels of confidence. I am sure that your upbringing affects your level of confidence. I mean, if you're brought up in a house where you're always praised and you're like your parents are like, I don't even know what the word would be, but your parents are always like, what is that word? Gosh, I'm so fumbling all my words today. That's what's kind of going to be like this podcast. Holy shit. This is worse than normal. But if they're praising you and they're building you up and they're, encouraging you to do hard things. If you fall down, they're going to tell you can do it. If you're raised in that household versus raised in one where you're always put down, chances are innately you will be more or less confident. But I also do believe that you have the ability to change your confidence level. And that comes from doing things over and over again until you become more confident. So number one thing I would say when it comes to building your self-confidence is setting small, achievable goals. That is one of the most important things that you can do, because every time you see a little win, you are going to become more confident. I've used this example before, but if you're a person who doesn't like to drink water and you're drinking only 1 glass a day and you want to become the person, and I'm going to talk about this too in a minute, becoming that confident person. But if you want to become the person who drinks 5 glasses of water a day, start with drinking 2 glasses of water today. One of my longtime clients, love her to death. She is a nutritionist and she always talks about, the person who eats 15 hamburgers in a day. If you eat 14 hamburgers in a day, you will be doing better. Are you doing the best you can? Probably not, but you will be doing better. So start with little, small, achievable goals. What I probably first should have said, I should have made this number 1 on the list. Again, I am not perfect, but the first thing on the list when it comes to building confidence is making the true decision that you want to change something. You guys, I have said for years, and I believe it to my core, how anything happens is making a true decision. Like if you really want something, just like I told you, if I really wanted something and I made that decision, line in the sand, no negotiations, no excuses, it was going to happen. I have like a 95% greater chance to make it happen. Is it a guarantee? No. Fuck no, nothing. There's only 2 guarantees in life, and I've already lived out one of them. Be born. The dying is next. Hopefully not anytime soon. But those are the only 2 guarantees in life. But I have a much better chance if I truly make a decision. I am a much more confident person in my choice if I say, this is the decision that I've made. I've burned the bridges. This is going to happen. I will do whatever it takes to make this happen. Think about the confidence and the ability in your body to feel how you feel when you can confidently say, like, this is going to happen versus, well, I'm thinking about drinking more water. I thought about it. I might do this. I might do that. No, there's a huge difference. I think a main thing too, I'm going to go down the list, obviously, of, building the confidence, but like number 1, make a true, actual decision. If you want it bad enough, you will figure out how to make it happen. And knowing your why you want to make a change, like I guarantee you, if you're diagnosed with a disease and they tell you you have to drink more water, I am sure you're going to be clear about, I am fucking drinking this water no matter what, because it is this life-changing situation that you're going through. Now, does everyone have that, like in regard to like a rock bottom moment or like a life-changing reason? No, but that's really where it requires you tapping into like, why? Why do you want to be doing this? Why does this matter to you? What is the thing under the thing? That will help you make that I have decided decision. It'll help you be so much clearer and hold yourself much more accountable to doing the damn thing. If you just say you're going to do it, but you have no reason why, you're probably going to flake off. You're probably not going to drink the water because you actually don't care. So your words matter. That was like number 4 on my list. Your words matter. What you say to yourself matters. So if you say you're going to do something and you don't fucking do it, you're hurting your confidence. So if you say you're going to drink more water, be the person who drinks more water. Be the person who is willing to cut the bullshit. And if you don't really want to, then don't say it. Because every time you give yourself an out, every time you do that, you're hurting your confidence. Like I had an eating disorder for so many years and like it was horrible. I'm laughing about it now. But like one of the reasons why now I really don't give myself any rules around food is because I don't want to like be all in or all out. I don't feel like that's like a really great mentality to have with anything. It's like either here or here. I think the truth is in the middle. So for myself, I just say, okay, like I never say like I have to cut out. I love licorice. So I never say I have to cut it out unless I'm really clear that like I'm taking a season where I'm in this season, I mean like a week, or like a month or whatever, or, I portion it out or whatever. I rarely portion it out. Who am I fucking kidding? I'll just eat it. But I don't give myself rules around it usually. But if I do, because I have literally bags of nibs in one sitting, which is like very unhealthy. And it wasn't an eating disorder thing. It's just a very unhealthy situation. Like no one needs that amount of sugar. So I literally say like, okay, tomorrow I'm not going to eat licorice, or this week I'm not going to eat licorice, or whatever it is. And I will not negotiate on that. I will not break that. But when I'm normally just being like, oh, I'm not going to eat licorice, and then I fucking eat licorice, I'm hurting my confidence. I'm hurting my ability to say like, no, Christina, you said you weren't going to do this and you're not going to do it. I am a confident enough human being in myself that if I say I'm not going to eat licorice for 2 weeks or a week or 10 days or 2 hours, whatever it is, I am not going to do it, because I know every time I say I'm going to do something and I don't do it, it really hurts your confidence. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm 90% positive. I mean, one of the things on my list is to give yourself grace. Like that's a big part of building confidence. But 90% of the time, I am your girl if I say I'm going to do it, you can bet your fucking ass I'm going to do it. Like I do not negotiate when it comes to doing what I say I'm going to do, because I am a confident person who trusts myself. And every time I negotiate on that, like 10% of the time, we're all human, give yourself the grace, but 90% of the time, I am going to do what I say I'm going to do. And that's a huge reason why I'm as confident as I am. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm damn sure going to do it. Number two, I'm already like, I've gone from 3 to 7 back to 2. Here we go, guys. You guys know this podcast. And if you're new here, thank you for continuing to tune into the shit show. Anyway, number 2, acknowledge what you've already done. I think that this is a big part of building confidence, is the fact that like so many people forget what they've done in either other areas of their life. Like, let's say you want to drink more water, but you don't feel really confident in your nutrition, but you're extremely confident in your business life. Those two can overlap. You can say to yourself like, okay, Christina, I know that my nutrition is slacking, but look at what I've been able to accomplish in my business life. You can borrow confidence from other aspects of your life, and you can see why you've been confident in those other aspects. You can see the characteristics that you've had in other aspects of your life. So pay attention to that. So if you're like struggling in your nutrition, but you're like a kick-ass business owner or a kick-ass mother or a kick-ass spouse or whatever it is, look at why you're kick-ass and look at why you're confident in those areas. Chances are you will see that like you keep promises to yourself, you talk differently to yourself, you show up differently, you make a clear decision, you have someone holding you accountable. Like, it's not rocket science, guys. Like, I promise you. So be able to look at where you have already had success and praise yourself for that, and borrow the confidence from the area in which you're good at to the area in which you're struggling. It's like, that's the reason why I can be such a great coach to whole bunch of different industries. I have clients, everything from like farming to insurance to healthcare to insurance, like I've already said insurance, to brand awareness to speech pathology. It's across the board. Why am I able to do that? Because at the core level, business is business and mindset is mindset. Like I don't have to know everything about everything. I was even on a call with a client today where she's like, yeah, we bought this new business that does this on highways. I was like, you could be speaking Spanish. I have no fucking idea what that is, but I don't need to know what that exact thing is. I just need to know how to help her with the strategy and the mindset in order to grow that business or whatever it is, or in order to be successful in areas of her life. That's the exact same thing of what I'm talking about, how you can borrow the confidence and from one part of your life to another part of your life, because literally the foundational blocks are very much the same. What you're doing over here is probably very similar to what you have to do over here to be successful. So just think about that. Look at where you're strong and what you're doing and how you're showing up and how you're thinking, and try to borrow whatever those things are, whatever those characteristics are, whatever you're doing, showing up. Chances are if you borrow those and put them into a different facet of your life, you will become much more confident. Number 3 on how to boost your confidence comes back to mindset. Everything is about mindset. You guys, you have to change your thoughts around things. You have to reprogram thoughts, patterns, and habits that are keeping you stuck. You know, one time a client, she'd already signed the contract with me, and I was, she was excited to get started. And I said, okay, you've already signed the contract. Now I can really tell you what I do. And what I help you do is reprogram thoughts, stories, patterns, and habits that are keeping you over here in order to get you to this next level of life. You know, a lot of clients don't come to me because they're really struggling. They just want to get to that next level of business or that next level of life or that next level of joy. And honestly, we have to change thoughts, patterns, stories, habits, beliefs that got you here, but that will no longer get you here. So if you want to build your confidence, you are going to have to change a few things to get from where you are to where you want to be. And your thoughts, your patterns, your habits, your stories, those things are the way to get to that next level of life. You can ask every single person who have gone from here to here. You have to become a different person. You have to think differently. You have to act differently. You have to show up differently. You just fucking have to. Like they always say, getting to $1 million is you have to think one way and act one way. Getting to $100 million is a completely different story. I don't know what it's like to get to $100 million, but I will tell you, I promise you, the same things that you did to get to $1 million are no longer the same things to get to 100 million. And the same shit, like what got you to this level in your marriage will not get you the next level. What got you to this level of life and your self-confidence will not get you to the next level. So you have to think differently. You have to show up differently. You have to act differently. You have to take different actions to get to a different spot. Just like I said in the beginning of this podcast, what got you here will no longer get you there. You have to show up differently. I promise you. And what you say matters. Literally affirmations. I know no one wants to hear this because you're kind of thinking to yourself, like, why would you pay a coach to just help you change your thought patterns? But I promise you, like, that is a big percentage of what I do, because when you're changing the way that you speak, when you're changing the way that you think, you show up differently. Your confidence changes. And a lot of people can't do this by themselves. You know, I've had my longest client with me for a little over 4 years, my next client about 3.5, and most people stick with me for a couple of years. Why? Because it takes time to change stories, patterns, and habits. It takes time to build your confidence in certain areas. Like a lot of people love that support. And I think there is this like misnomer that you should be able to do it by yourself. Who told you you're supposed to do life by yourself? Who told you you're supposed to be able to figure this shit out all by yourself? Like, I don't want to do life by myself. I want to have all of the support in my life in order to get me to that next level. And I think we have just like this misnomer, this preconceived notion like, oh, I should not be spending money on this for a long period of time, or I should not be spending time on this for a long period of time. Why the fuck not? If it makes your life that much better, do you really think it's going to matter at the end of your life if you have whatever you invested in this container sitting in the bank account? Fuck no. Newsflash, your kids are just going to blow it anyway. No, I'm just kidding. Just joking. Kind of, not really. I mean, it's probably half and half. Don't judge me, whatever. All of that to be said, it's like, you have to change the way that you speak to yourself. You have to change the thoughts that you have to reprogram those things in order to get you to your most confident version, in order to become the version of yourself that wants to get to the next level. I promise, a lot of it comes down to the way that you talk to yourself and the way that you show up. That's huge. All right. What's next? Oh, to build confidence. Let me tell you, I think a person who is resilient and optimistic, and now someone would probably ask me, are those things like, are you born that way? Is that innate? Again, I think there's a lot of people that are innately optimistic. I think there's a lot of people who are innately realistic. I think there's a lot of people that are extremely resilient, and a lot of people that like one little thing happens, booms, it throws you into a tailspin and you're probably going to lose your confidence. But again, like, who do you want to be and why? Going back to your why, like, you are going to get your ass kicked. You will fail. All of those things will happen along the way, but it's truly up to you to decide what those things mean and how you're going to handle them. A confident person deep within their soul, I'm not telling you, like, I truly do believe to my core, I am a confident person who can pretty much do anything on the planet that I want to do if I truly decide that I want to do it. But I also know I have bad days. I also know I want to cry. I also know it's hard. I also know that some days I'm negative Nancy. Some days I am literally not that resilient. I'm a human being doing a human thing, right? But I also know that I'm going to figure it out. I also know that those days are going to pass. I also know that I can figure out a way to yes. I also know that I have my faith, which is a huge part of it for me. You guys know the 3 pillars, the trademark pillars of my business are decision, faith, and action. With those 3 things, I truly believe you can accomplish anything. But so I do have that faith part in me. I do know that bad days don't last forever. I do know that I can find good in my life. You know, one that I probably should add on here in regards to building confidence is just finding joy in life, being fucking grateful. It is almost physically impossible not to change your vibration and not to become happier and a more confident person if all you can focus on is what is going well. You will find more of what is going well. What you focus on is what you find. I promise you, the people who stay stuck and not that confident in life are probably the people who will find all of the shit that is going wrong. Is there shit going wrong? Absolutely. But you have a choice. You have a decision. Love that word. You have a decision to find what is going well when everything else is going bad. And the person who can find what is going well, the person who can be grateful, the person who can be positive, the person who can get up faster is probably going to be the more confident person who is going to find success faster, find joy faster, and literally cut the bullshit. I promise you. Like, it's just, I can't say it's a scientific fact. Well, actually, I can say whatever the fuck I want. This is my podcast and it's your decision whether or not you listen to it. And this is definitely not a regulated industry, which is on some days a really bad thing. I wish it was, because a lot of people will feed you bullshit. But I do believe that there are statistics out there. And I know that there is probably, if you know the statistic on this, let me know. But it is a scientific fact, I'm sure, somewhere, that if you focus on what is going well, you will find more of what is going well. I mean, it's the law of attraction. Go listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza. You know, it is scientific fact that, like, if you want to become more confident, focus on what is going fucking well. Focus on gratitude. Focus on what you have done well. Focus on the fact that, like, if you want to do something, 99.9% of shit that you want to do in this world has already been done by someone else, unless you're maybe like Elon Musk or something like that. But like, if someone else has done it, you can do it too. And that is just proof that I do that all the time. Like, I will say I have probably never in my whole life been a jealous person. I don't find like jealous. I find that just to be like one of the most repulsive characteristics of a person. I know women probably struggle with that more than men, but you know that girl who's just, oh, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. I just fucking hate that. I'm like, why are you jealous? That is just proof that it is possible for you. And like, that's a mindset shift, guys. Like, you have the ability to shift that in your head. Do you want to be jealous, or do you want to use that as proof? But just look at everything as like, if someone has already done it, it is proof that it can be for you as well. Like, you have the opportunity to do that, and you have the ability to think different and find what is going well in your life. I promise you. Another way to build confidence is to let people help you. Like, literally, I think it's great to take personal responsibility for your life. You know, I've said this 1,000 times. How did my life change? Because I fucking finally decided that it was no one else's fault and no one was going to come to save me, and I was the only person going to change my life. Personal responsibility is one of the greatest things. But also, in that moment of personal responsibility, I decided that I needed people to help me. I decided that I needed to have people in my life that were going to hold me accountable. I decided I needed to have proof of what was possible from other people. I knew that if I wanted to be a more confident person, I wanted to be more joyful, I wanted to make more money, I wanted to do that, I knew I was going to have people help me. Like, I know it's one of the craziest things. And if you've been listening to this podcast a long time, you probably now know that, like, oh, it makes complete sense to let people help you. But like, for such a long period of time, everyone feels like they have to do this shit alone. And I think it's crazy. Why would you not have someone help you become the best version of yourself? Why would you not have someone give you that overhead perspective? Why would you not have someone help you fast forward what you're trying to accomplish? To me, it's just like, you know, now that I know it, and I do feel like 85% of the world has no concept of all of the shit that I talk about, which is some days just so frustrating, because I'm like, if you only knew how good it could be. But that's the reason why I'm making my tiny little impact in this world by doing this podcast week in and week out. But let people help you, building confidence and learning from someone else. You know, I had a client one time, she said, I am borrowing your confidence in me until I build my own. And I thought that was one of the greatest lines ever. And I just thought, that is so true. I have borrowed people's confidence for a very long time until I built my own. When I was first starting out into this industry, when I was first changing my life, I was 27, 28 years old. I was not in the same position, not even close. I'm a complete 180 from who I used to be. But I guess it was always in there. I just had to figure it out. But I borrowed confidence from other people who believed in me until I built that muscle myself, until I made that line in the sand that I was going to do things differently, until I got my ass kicked and stood back up, until I started reprogramming my thoughts, patterns, and habits, until I started doing the things that I said I always wanted to do. You know, I started this podcast with telling you that there was a client that said it was way more exhausting thinking about all the things that she wanted to do than actually fucking doing them. And, you know, I thought about that when she said that. And I think it was a client, but unless I'm crazy and I heard it on a podcast, but I think about that line and I think, fuck, ain't that the truth? There's so many people literally wearing themselves out thinking about the thing that they want to do. And yet, if they would just actually do the thing, it would be a lot fucking easier. And this is a perfect segue into, you know, cutting the excuses. You know, cutting the excuses, like, very first thing, just fucking decide. I know it seems so simple, you guys, like I'm just saying it so nonchalantly, but I promise you it is. Like, if you make a true, honest to God decision, it allows every other option to go away. I remember someone saying, you know, you got married to one person, so you have made a decision that this is the one person. It's so easy to say no to everything else because you've already said yes to that one thing. It's the same thing with making a decision. I am saying no to licorice for a week or whatever it is. That's it. There's no negotiation. There's no like, maybe one piece, maybe I can have it then, maybe I can't. No, this decision is made. Like, it just makes everything so much easier. And you know, the other thing with cutting the excuses, I'll be honest with you guys. I use stop losses in my life quite a bit, and we can use the the licorice. How stupid is this analogy? But let me know if you resonate with this. But cutting the licorice. Do you know how if I say I'm not fucking doing it, and I actually did this recently as well. I keep licorice in my husband's car. I posted this on my stories, and one of my amazing clients, she's so cute. She's like, oh my God, I love hard licorice too. But I keep licorice in my husband's truck for when we drive on like road trips on the weekend or whatever. And I love it dried out. Let me know if you guys love that. But like, I love red. I like black licorice too, but red is just so much easier to find. But I like it dried out. So I open the package, eat a few pieces, but I let it dry out in my husband's car. But I know that I've been eating like packages of this shit lately. I don't know what's happening, but I was like, no. So I put in stop losses in my life. I talk about stop losses all the time. So a stop loss is like, how do you stop yourself so you don't get on this losing train, is the way that I look at it. So what do I do when it comes to licorice? I fucking throw that shit out and I don't buy it and I don't keep it in my house. Like, that's a quick way for me not to eat licorice. Like, I don't know if a nutritionist or a health food expert would say that that's good or not, but for me, it just makes it so much easier. Like, if I don't want to eat licorice, guess what? I'm not going to fucking have it in my house. It just makes it so much easier. So whatever it is for you, say you want to start working out. Guess what? Put your workout clothes on the freaking bed in the morning, call your trainer, schedule that appointment, call a girlfriend, sign up for that class, pay for it ahead of time. Do you know how I've been going to my trainer for like freaking 6 years? I literally schedule him at least a week and a half and I pay him. Like, it is just a stop loss. It just makes me not screw up and not like let myself off the hook. I do not have that excuse when I have put in a stop loss. And you guys can do this for business. You can tell people. So like, say you've always wanted to start the podcast. Guess what? Here's how you stop that excuse. You fucking tell everyone and your mother that you're starting the podcast. That is literally a stop loss. You're putting it out to the world. You're saying like, this is the thing that I'm going to do. You're telling everyone that you're going to do it. You buy the microphone and you take the first step. You guys, small steps is how you achieve everything. Everyone thinks so far in advance. I've been doing this work such a long time. You want to know why people don't actually do the thing that they say that they're going to do? Because they stop themselves from doing it way before they even fucking start. Quit thinking about the end. Just think about the next step. Just think about the next step and the next step and the next step. And guess what? If you take 1,000 steps, you're going to become a much more confident human being. And you stop the excuse of, I can't do it because. No, just do the next step. What is the next one? Oh, be authentic. I've already talked about this. Being authentic, like being willing to say, like, I don't have the answer. A confident person is willing to say, you know what? I don't really know. I don't know shit about a lot of things. I know what I know and I know what I don't know. And I am confident enough in myself to say like, I don't know, but let me figure it out, or let me learn about it, or I don't give two shits about it and I know nothing. Help me. I'm so open to learning. I am not afraid to fail. I'm willing to be authentic. I think that those things are massively important when you're building your confidence and cutting the excuses. Be authentic. You don't have to know everything. That is like a huge part of it. Surround yourself with the right people. Surround yourself with positive people who are going to hold you accountable. We all know that theory about the 5 people that you surround yourself with. You're going to probably be the 6th person. So if you want to cut the excuses and you want to build your confidence, hang around with people who are cutting the bullshit, who are not the negative Nellies, who are reprogramming the patterns. And guess what, guys? I've said this 100 times on this podcast and I'll say it again. There will be a season where you're alone and it will suck and it will make you want to go back to your old patterns, habits, stories. It will make you want to have the excuse of, I can't do this. But guess what? If you want it bad enough and you literally want to cut the excuses, you're going to have to be alone for a minute. You're going to have to find other people. You're going to have to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. You're going to have to maybe hire someone. You're going to have to go to an event. You're going to have to go to a certain area. You are going to have to do different things to get a different result. And it is going to suck for a minute, but I promise you, we have all done it. Every single person who has done something good, every single person who has pushed themselves to the next level, you have to do it. There is going to be those seasons, I promise you. And I'm not telling you they don't suck, but my God, it is so worth it. So surround yourself with different people. Cut the bullshit that you can't do it. If I don't even know a good example. If someone can do it, you can do it. But it's true. It's proof. Going back to like, why be jealous? It's just fucking proof. Celebrate the small wins. I just did a discovery call with a woman who was like, I'm just not that far along. She's done over $125,000 of revenue this year in her business. And, that's obviously not net, but I was just like, oh my God, why are you not celebrating that? Why are you not standing on the roofs? Do you know how much easier it is to get further is when you're celebrating what you've already done? You guys, if I'm drinking 2 glasses of water when everyone else is drinking none, I am celebrating myself. It's not even about everyone else. That's another thing on the list. Do not compare yourself. If 2 glasses of water to you is like astronomically monumental, be celebrating yourself. One of the things that I have learned, and I don't even know if I've talked about this on this podcast, but I always used to never allow myself to celebrate myself. No matter what I did, it was never good enough because I was always afraid that if I didn't, almost like punish myself or like tell myself I wasn't good enough, I thought I was going to lose that edge of pushing myself to the next level. Like, that's not good enough. You can do better. You're not skinny enough. You're not good enough. You're not all of this. And I was in the back of my head, I thought if I use that, it would keep pushing me. And if I ever said, well, that's good, or you should be proud of yourself, or that's great, or you're enough, I always thought I was going to lose that competitive edge. I always thought I would settle. You guys, I love myself. I like myself. Fuck me. I was looking at photos. We're headed to Hawaii for Christmas this year. And I was looking at photos of myself back in the day. And I thought, oh my God, I don't think I hated the photo that I posted was from 2016. I actually think I kind of liked myself back then. It's not that long ago. I mean, gosh, what is that? 7 years ago. I was in the beginning-ish stages of really actually liking myself. It's been a minute since I've liked myself, but skip back to, whatever, 2000 or before that. God, I probably just was a fucking bitch to myself. I was probably so mean to myself. And I probably thought, I know what I thought. If I wasn't kind to myself, if I wasn't nice to myself, I was going to let myself go. And that's not the case. Like, gosh, do I wish I looked the way that I looked in 2000? Yes. Fuck. Who wouldn't, right? A lot less wrinkles. That was like 23 years ago. A lot less wrinkles, all of the things, pretty fit. But now I'm just kinder to myself. I'm nicer to myself. I give myself the compliment of how I'm proud of myself, whether that be in business, whether that be relational, whether that be, my body, whatever. Had I known that it is just so much easier to be kind to myself and just give myself those small wins, and it's not going to stop me from getting to the next level. It's actually going to make it easier. It is so much easier to do the next great thing when you're like, yes, I'm so proud of you. You did that thing. You want to do the next thing. You want to get to that next level. So please hear me when I say that. If you are the type of person who always like punishes yourself, just know that you're not actually helping yourself to get yourself to that next level. Like, you're really, really not. And, don't compare yourself. I just compared myself with the water, and that's not the best way to go either. Your journey is your journey. You are right where you're supposed to be. So yes, this podcast was very hard. It was, cut the excuses, do the thing, and build your confidence, all of the things. But, also too, you're right where you need to be. You're listening to this podcast, hopefully in January, and 2024 is coming up. And maybe right now is the time that you're going to decide it's your turn. Maybe right now is exactly when you've decided that it's finally your turn, that you're going to cut the excuses, you're going to build the confidence, you're going to do the thing. And that is exactly okay. The right time was years ago, but the next right time is right now. And I am encouraging you. I promise you from the bottom of my soul, like, you can decide it's your turn at any moment in time. And if you're looking for help, I might be able to help you. If not, find help from someone else. I'm so fucking grateful that this is what I get to do. I truly do believe I am one of the best coaches there is. I only do one-on-one coaching. I love what I get to do. I love helping people hit those big wins, those small wins, personal and professional. I tell everyone you can't do business without talking about personal, and personal affects your business. It is all of it. It is all combined. So if I can help you, allow me to help you. I would love to get to talk to you. My business is, I'm so blessed. I'm very full, and there might be a wait list because there currently is right now. But, if I'm the right fit for you, just believe that everything happens for a purpose and a reason. And perhaps maybe you and I working together in 2024. And even if you don't want to work with anyone, but promise me, I promise, it is worth it. It is not easy. Nothing worth it is. But if you build your confidence, you cut the excuses, you decide it's your turn, you put that line in the sand, I promise you, when you're listening to this podcast in 2025, gosh, I hope you are, because I'm so grateful that you're here. I cannot believe we're coming up to 3 years on this podcast, but I am so grateful for you. I thank you for being here. I promise you that it is all worth it. Like, build your confidence, cut the excuses, decide it's your turn. Those 3 things, I'm just so friggin' lucky that God placed those things in my life. And this is what I get to do every single day, because it is so fucking worth it. And whatever it is for you, I want you to just decide it's so fucking worth it and be willing to do whatever it takes. Because again, it's not easy, but it's so worth it. You guys, I am so unbelievably grateful for you. I know it's December. I know that you're, slammed busy if you're listening to this right when it comes out. I thank you for taking the time. I thank you for sharing this. I thank you for watching it on YouTube. Let me know if any of these things resonate. Let me know if this helps you. You guys, I do this podcast ad-free at this moment in time to truly try to add value to you. I'm so unbelievably grateful. If you want me to send you this podcast each and every single week, you can text me the word podcast to 501-222-3362. It is 100% me, because as you know, I sometimes forget. If you're on my podcast list, I sometimes forget to send you the link. I apologize for that, but I usually make up for it the following week. I'm so grateful for you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't ever forget, you have the power to decide it's your turn. If you can rate and review and share this podcast, I'd be unbelievably grateful. I have big goals for this in 2024, and I love that you're a part of it. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day.